Jesus into trouble was the claims he made about himself. If he'd been content just to be a rabbi, a teacher of the law, he might have been a bit controversial, but nobody would have minded. There were plenty of spiky, difficult rabbis around in those days, and some of them are still remembered today, not just for their teaching, but also for their unusual behaviour. But Jesus wasn't just another rabbi. There was a different note in his teaching. The Gospels tell us that people who listened to him noticed this. They said that he taught with authority, not like the others. He seemed to think he had a special relationship with God that nobody else had. He called God his Father in a way that other teachers just didn't. He didn't say much directly about himself, but left it to his hearers to piece it all together. Who was this man really? It wasn't until his trial, at the end of his life, that he spoke openly. Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor, asked him directly, "Are you a king then?" Jesus answered, "You have said it," which was a Jewish way of saying, "Yes, indeed." He went on to make it clear what he meant. "I am a king, and I was born into the world for this purpose. That's why I have come. I have come here to talk about the truth, and everyone who belongs to the truth recognizes my voice." Just before being arrested, he had been at supper with his disciples and had broken the news to them that he was going away. They were filled with consternation, especially when he said, "You know the way to the place where I am going." One of them, Thomas, objected that they didn't know where he was going, so how could they know the way? Jesus replied, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except by me." So what was he claiming? Well, for centuries the Jewish people had been waiting for their Messiah to come. Centuries ago, there had been prophecies of a great king who would appear to rule his people and bring peace and justice to the whole of humankind. Earlier in his career, there had been a group of people who had decided that Jesus was going to be their Messiah, whether he liked it or not, and they got a mob together who were determined to make him king by force if necessary. But Jesus would have none of it. He was a king, all right, but a different kind of king than they were expecting. He wasn't going to be just another political ruler. He was going to rule in the hearts and minds of people all over the world and introduce them to the Father in a new way. For the first time in human history, failing, sinful human beings could be friends with God. It wouldn't be just for Jews, but for everybody, and the key to it all, in Jesus' view, was his death. It had to happen, and not just because Jesus had enemies. The people who were waiting for the Messiah and quoting those prophecies from the Bible had missed another group of prophecies. These ones talked about the suffering that God's servant would have to go through. They predicted that through that suffering, God's great king would bear the punishment for all of the evil of human beings. And Jesus knew this was part of his mission too. That's why the early Christians were so excited about the cross. In their day, it was just an instrument of torture, a shameful way to die. If you were a proper Roman citizen, one of your privileges was that you'd never be crucified. That was just for outcasts and outsiders. Yet the early Christians talked about the cross of Jesus all the time, and you can find pictures of it in the carvings and inscriptions all over the Roman world. They had finally understood what Jesus was claiming about himself. He was the Son of God, God in human form, and he had come to be the Messiah, but he had come first and foremost to die.